This is the last week of the Japanese themed month for the crew Motorfest, and with that we have a brand new summit and an exclusive summit S2000. All right, let's go. All right, before I get into it, quick shout out to Simgii. We combed through these events together and he helped tremendously with discovering shortcuts on these events. So please go sub to Simgii's channel. There's a link in the description. All right, let's get into the cars. So for the Summit bundle, you'll be getting the Honda NSX, the Honda CBR 1000, and the Honda Civic, the 2021 version. In addition to that, you're gonna need a drag vehicle of your choice and a slalom vehicle of your choice. You need to have score breaker on that slalom vehicle. It doesn't matter which category, which racing category you're using, but what does matter is that you have a full set of score breaker parts that will double your points for the slalom at the end of this video. So make sure you have that. The keys to this summit are cuts, lots and lots and lots of shortcuts for these events. And then on top of that, clean driving. You really just don't want to make too many mistakes. Making mistakes in these events are particularly damaging to your time, like hitting walls and going into dirt and things like that. Just make sure you hit the cuts and try to drive as clean as possible, and you'll have plenty of points to get that car. All right, here are the pro settings for the vehicles in this summit, and then we'll get into the events. The first event is called the Power of Dreams. A slipstream partner on this is definitely recommended, but if you don't have one, you can definitely still put up a good time. So try without it, and if you need to, head to the Militia Discord and try to find yourself a slipstream partner. It definitely helps. But let's get into the cuts. At 11%, you can cut right across the grass corner, and then make sure you're nosing to maintain the speed through the grass. That helps you take the corner without braking. Same thing at 49%, you can cut the grass hill and make sure you're nos once again. You really want to nos through these grass cuts. The bikes are not affected by off-road like the cars are. So although you will lose speed in the grass, if you nos, you can actually just keep your exact same speed, as you can see from the background gameplay. And then again at 95%, you're going to cut left across the grass and empty your nos tank, which means you need to be preparing for this cut. Don't use a bunch of nos leading up to the end of the race. You want to try to keep your speed naturally, and then when you get to this cut, you're going to empty your tank for the final stretch. As you can see, Simgii was pretty far ahead, but because I was able to go straight and not have to slow down for the final two curves, I caught him and passed him just before the finish line. Again, just make sure you have enough nos. The next event is called the Beginning of a Story. This one takes place on a closed track, so there aren't any shortcuts that I can tell you about, but I will give you a little bit of advice. I highly recommend using manual for this race, even if it takes you a bunch of races to learn it. I think it's so beneficial to be able to downshift and engine brake for this event that it's worth trying just specifically for this one. That being said, the key to this one is actually getting as inside as possible on these turns so that you can nos as soon as possible coming out of the corners. These bikes accelerate to top speed very quickly, and if you're in manual, make sure you are upshifting early so you don't redline while nosing. All right, the next event is called Wangan Midnight. This race is all about the gutters. The street tier 1 vehicles don't handle the best, so you need to take advantage of the gutters in order to hold as much speed as possible throughout these turns. Also, nos isn't the best with this car, so try your best not to hold your nos button down. Use it in short bursts. All right, let's get to the cuts. At 3%, you can cut across the grass on the left. That line is actually faster, and then you can do it again just after the bridge. At 30%. This gutter is very important to hit. It's a semi-high speed corner and it's responsible for your speed going into the next corner and the following straight. At 44%, you can cut the grass on the left and then do it again just after the bridge like we did at 3%. And you're going to be going towards that next checkpoint. And then finally at 78%, the gutter on this one is very important as well. Try your best to take advantage of it. Put 2 wheels in the dirt, keep 2 wheels on the pavement, and just rail through it. All right, the next event is called Kanjo Thrills. This one is a lapped race, so I'll let you watch my second lap in its entirety as it was a little bit cleaner than my first. But basically, you want to follow the lines that I take. There is one cut on this race, but I usually do not take it because it's super hard, and if you don't nail it perfectly, it's actually slower. So I like to skip it, but it is there if you want to see it. I'll show it to you in this clip. Also, there is one reset point as well, so make sure you take note of that. It's sort of towards the end of the lap. All right, enjoy. The next event is called NSX versus NSX. This is another lapped race, so here's my first full lap. It's definitely not the cleanest lap, but you can see the lines that I was going for and the reset cut that's towards the end of the lap. On that reset cut, just a little bit of advice, stay to the right of the tree and then go towards the building on the left and reset. All right, watch this and I will be back at the end of the lap so we can finish it up and go to the next event. All right, and the final race of this summit is called Honda versus Ferrari. This one has tons of crazy cuts. At 22%, this one is called the Simgii cut. Aim for the small flag that's on the left of the road. There are 2 flags there, just aim for the tinier one, and then try to control your car in the air with NOS and steering, then hit the next hill as a jump to get back on the road. Make sure you're using NOS in air. This also works in grand races through this section, so a little bit of a bonus tip there for you. And then at 33%, you can cut the corner to the right and again on the following corner. So after you cut this corner with the silos, get a little bit of speed, and then cut the next grass corner. You may be tempted to go through the grass farther because you'll notice the checkpoint is way to the right. However, after lots of runs, we figured out that it really isn't faster because of the length of time that you're in the grass. You lose a lot of speed, as well as the angle that you come out of it back onto the road. It's just faster to get a little bit of speed and then cut the grass corner. At 40%, you can cut this corner to the left. The visual cue on this cut is the airplane. You want to stay wide left of it, but don't go too left because you're going to hit the parked cars. At 53%, you can literally just go straight towards the next checkpoint through the grass. You skip a huge section of the course and make sure you're nosing in air, and then try to control your speed when you're exiting the grass towards this checkpoint. You don't want to keep going straight into the grass on the other side. You want to try to get onto the road with as much speed as possible, but not so much that it's going to put you on the grass on the other side. And then shortly after that, at 64%, I actually messed this one up for the video. If you pause the video right here, you should be taking the line that's farther to the right of where I'm cutting. You can get a straighter path when you re-enter the pavement. If you do that, just try to remember it. Right after this wall finishes, you're going to be making a right to go through these trees and towards the next checkpoint. I actually forgot to do it while I was recording this clip. That's why I'm cutting so late. And then finally at 87%, this is sort of a small cut, but you can cut the corner pretty nicely. This sidewalk right here is fairly flat, so it's an easy cut, and it just helps you keep speed through that corner. All right, that's it for the race events. Let's move on to the feats. This first speed trap, for whatever reason, we were unsuccessful at getting a perfect slipstream. We kept disappearing. We couldn't stay in a crew, and we couldn't stay together, and then traffic was in the way, and it's kind of a short lead up into the weird like jump speed trap. It's just very strange. But anyway, I'll definitely revisit this speed trap. I think you'll do fine with this run up, and as long as you're nosing when you get to the straight part of it, I think you'll be okay. If you've got Nitro Chemist with Pure and Extra Pump as your affixes, you'll get a really nice score. If not, you're just gonna have to live with what you get. Mine is about 300 miles per hour, and I'm probably going to try to grind for Nitro Chemist in order to increase that before the week is up. Moving on to the slalom. Again, the name of the game here is using a vehicle where you have a full set of Scorebreaker parts. Without those, you are literally doomed. Scorebreaker doubles your points for this event, so it's 100% necessary. If you don't have it, definitely grind for it. And finally, the last speed trap. This one I found it much easier to hit from the right side of the event. So when it spawns you in, just head towards the speed trap and then make a right at that intersection. I got my highest score by going full speed over the jump and then nosing in the air. It might take you a couple of tries, but it definitely worked the best for me, and I was doing it solo on this part. Again, we could not get a full slipstream into that event. All right, if you have any questions about this summit, please do not hesitate to send me a DM. I answer every single message that comes my way. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helps, as it will be the only chance you have to earn that S2000, at least for the time being, until they bring it back at a future summit. All right, I'll catch you on the next one. Trigger out.